How's it going, everyone? Marriland here, and that's right, it's time for more Pokemon TCG stuff. Yeah, we're gonna check out more of the cards, this time checking out the newest TCG set, Steam Siege. Yeah, XY Steam Siege looks pretty cool. Pokemon was kind enough to send over some theme decks as well as a few booster packs for me to check out, so let's go ahead and take a look at them. So, the two theme decks this time around, which, by the way, these are great for newer players if you're just getting started with the game. Yeah, and they're featuring some really cool Pokemon on it, which is definitely great. You know, sometimes it's hit and miss what you'll find on the theme decks or the starter decks or pre-constructed decks. I guess they're called theme decks nowadays. I know pretty much every term works for them. But yeah, this time we have Volcanion. That's right. Before you can even get it in the game, you can get it in the card games, at least legitimately. But yeah, Volcanion here in the Gears of Fire deck, and Hoopa in the Ring of Lightning deck. Now, each of these decks is built around a theme. In this case, for Gears of Fire, it's got Fire and Steel, whereas Ring of Lightning has Psychic and Electric, or Lightning as it's called in the trading card game, and I guess Metal as it's called in the trading card game, not Steel. It's kind of interesting how they differ between the card game and the video game. But yeah, anyway, let's take a look at what is inside. Now, theme decks, they always come with the same stuff in them, so, you know, you'll be guaranteed to get the same thing regardless of, you know, what you get, really. I mean, if you find a Gears of Fire theme deck, it will always have these cards right here, which is convenient, because that way you always know what you're getting, and that's a good thing. Now, the pre-constructed decks, the theme decks, they have a deck that's all ready for you to go. You can just take this deck and play it against your friends, which is nice. Now, it's not, you know, a deck you'll probably want to bring to a tournament and expect to win, but it's a great deck to bring to a league. Now, in this case, this has two Volcanion, some Monferno, some Pyroar, Rapidash, and Ponyta, and then a big Kling Klang line, which is kind of nice. So we'll take a look at some of these cards in a moment. And then over in the Ring of Lightning deck, it's featuring Hoopa, as well as Drifblim, Lampent, Galvantula, a nice sturdy Ampharos line, Ambipom and Apom, that's kind of neat, and Hawlucha. Well, very cool. So let's go ahead and open these theme decks to see what kind of stuff is lurking inside of them. Now, you don't need to worry too much about damaging, you know, the outside of the box, because there is a nice little mini box inside that should make kind of storing your deck a little bit easier. So don't worry too much about that if you're, you know, a new player. You're like, oh, what do I do? It's got everything you need for you. So here's the Volcanion card here. And yeah, basic Pokemon, which is nice. You can play it straight from your hand to start the game with, or, you know, just put it on the bench for later. But yeah, 130 hit points, fire type, power heater, 1 fire, does 20 damage, and you choose 2 of your bench Pokemon and attach a fire energy card from your discard pile to each of those Pokemon. That's actually pretty good if you can play cards that discard fire energy, which there are quite a few, thankfully. And it's got Steam Artillery for a solid 100 damage. That's really nice. It's not even a Pokémon-EX, so you only get 1 prize card when you knock it out. Now, again, these are built for newer players. I know I've said that, but I won't be explaining the very basics of the game to you. If you're looking for a tutorial on how to play, I do apologize. This will not exactly cover that. But I do explain it in, I think, a few earlier theme deck videos that I've done. But I just wanted to let you know. But thankfully, the rules are included here. You can also find a nice play mat, which I have this lovely Worlds play mat. I didn't go to the World Championships, unfortunately. I just got back from a vacation last week. I went to Mall of America instead, because unfortunately Worlds was closed to the public. But I did watch it on stream, which is cool. And one of my friends got a play mat out there, which is kind of nifty. So thank you, Pika Pastor, you rock. Love the playmat. You're awesome, buddy. But yeah, I figured I'd have that in the background there. So one thing to mention here, this little rule insert thing, it tells you what is new with the set. In this case, there are dual type Pokemon. So, as this says, dual-type Pokemon are just like regular Pokemon, but they have two types at the same time. For example, Azumarill is both a Fairy and a Water Pokemon, so any card that affects one of those types will affect Azumarill. And if a dual Pokemon or dual-type Pokemon attacks a Pokemon that has a weakness or resistance to either of its types, the attack's damage will be affected. And if the Pokemon has a weakness to one of the types and resistance to the other, remember to apply weakness, then resistance. That's how it's always been. You always do weakness first, then resistance, so it'd be ×2, and then, in most situations, -20. Okay, well, cool. On top of that, this also does include really cool checklist of all the cards in the set, or almost all the cards. There are a few secret cards, which are numbered past number 114. Just thought I'd let you know that. But yeah, very cool for collectors. Remember, there are both normal versions and then reverse holographic versions. That's what the blue boxes are for. And then, of course, anything that you only see in red there, or actually anything that is in red, that means it's a standard holofoil. So, like this Shiftry, for instance, it could be both holo and reverse foil. Yeah, and then over here, it's got some special rules for Mega Evolution Pokemon, and hopefully you know about that already. That hasn't really changed. Same with Break. These are mechanics that have been introduced in previous sets. But the dual-type Pokemon thing, I think it's new to Steam Siege. Pretty sure. Maybe not. I don't know. It's been a while since I played, actually. But yeah, anyway, so really quick, there is a code card here that unlocks the deck online. So if you buy the physical theme deck, you can also get it online, which is kind of nice. Let's go ahead and pop this out. There we go. So this is a special foil pattern of the Volcanion. So it's a pattern you'll only find in the theme deck. So inside of the theme deck, which is what we got right here, you have a pre-constructed deck that is all ready to go. And by the way, that's what I was mentioning earlier. See, this is a nice little deck box. Holds 60 cards. It won't fit your sleeves in it, but that's okay. So you do want to take your Volcanion from that deck and put it in with your cards. But yeah, here's all the different stuff. Evo Soda, very nice card. You search your deck for a card that evolves from one of your Pokemon, and you put it onto that Pokemon. So that's really cool. Great way to get evolutions out right away. Chimchar Monferno. I don't think this has Infernape in it, if I'm not mistaken. But remember, you can add cards to your deck, and that's kind of what they intend you to do. They give you sort of like the skeleton, really. So, Ninja Boy, you choose one of your basic Pokemon in play. You search your deck for a basic Pokemon and switch it with that Pokemon. Why would you do that? Well, you know, let's say you start with a Litleo, but you want to get your Volcanion out. All you need to do is just play that, and then you can get rid of your Litleo and get Volcanion and start wrecking things, which is awesome. Although this Pyroar is pretty good. Wow, yeah, kind of nice. Flame Charge, search your deck for a Fire Energy card and attach it to this Pokemon. And then Incinerate, so it's kind of cool. Kind of cool. Clang, Disorderly Flip. So disorderly. Alright, Kling Clang. Yeah, that's useful using the Evo Sodas to get this out, because it's kind of tricky to get a Stage 2 evolution line out. But this thing has Heavy Bumper. Any damage done to this Pokemon by an opponent's attack is reduced by 10 for each colorless in your opponent's active Pokemon's retreat cost. Huh. It's kind of interesting. And then during your next turn, this Pokemon's Gear Spinner attack does 70 more damage before applying weakness and resistance. Well, that's kind of interesting. I guess it's important to note that it doesn't keep adding. I mean, it would do 70, and then it would do 140 on the next turn, and then it'd continue to do 140. It wouldn't go up to 210. I know a lot of people think, oh, that's awesome, I could just keep doing that. And no, it doesn't quite work that way. So we got Persian, we got Rapidash here. Meowth looks way too freaked out. Huh. Energy Retrieval, another Volcanion. This is just the normal one here. But yeah, that's kind of handy. Kind of handy that you have two of them. Professor's Letter, good way to get basic energy cards into your hand. Let's see, Ninja Boy, Meowth. Energy Retrieval gets energy cards from your discard pile back into your hand, just in case you don't want to use Volcanion's first attack. Pokemon Center Lady. Heal 60 damage. Remove all special conditions from one of your Pokemon. Good way to kind of keep your Volcanion going. Tierno to draw 3 cards. Ultra Ball, discard 2 cards from your hand, search your deck for a Pokemon, reveal it, and put it into your hand. So that's a good way to put some fire energy into your discard pile, and then put them back with Volcanion. But yeah, anyway, here's a deck all ready to go. That's what's nice about the starter decks. I mean, you'll of course want to shuffle it. You might want to put some sleeves on it, and then you'll need a different deck box, but it does fit really nicely in here if you don't feel like sleeves. And again, there's nothing super rare in these because they're kind of meant as beginner tools. You know, they're a good way to get into the game if you have not yet played, and it gives you a code for this deck online, which is really nice. So, that is indeed the, what was it, Gears of Fire? Yeah, Gears of Fire theme deck, which is nice. Again, focusing on fire and electric. In fact, you know what? There was one thing I didn't do with theme decks. Remember, they're called theme decks for a reason. They have a theme. In this case, full steam ahead! Spin up a great engine of battle with the mythical Pokemon Volcanion. Combine the steely determination of Klinklang with the leaping speed of Monferno, and seize the power of steam. All aboard the victory train! Yeah, it's kind of silly, but oftentimes it tells you what the deck's all about. And yeah, it's kind of nifty. Alright, let's go ahead and open up the second deck here, the Ring of Lightning. Now again, these are the newest decks, but you're not limited to them. There are also older decks, and there was just a rotation, if you're not familiar with what that means. So basically, any really old cards in Pokemon, they just straight up can't be used. Wow, I'm just destroying this. Oh, I'm so sorry, Hoopa. Oh, well. That's one of my big complaints about the theme decks. Like, it is kind of tricky to open them up, and they don't really go back together very well. But on the flip side, you know, you pretty much get everything you need out of them, and you do get this much more compact form when you're all done, so it's really not that big of a deal. But yeah, this one has Hoopa. Oh, let me tell you about rotation just really fast. So if you have really old cards, you can't use them. Typically every year, Pokemon, they rotate which sets are allowed. So any older sets you won't be able to use. In this case, I'm pretty sure it is Primal Clash and On that's allowed. So any of the early sets in the X and Y block, I do not believe are legal anymore for standard play. However, there is a separate format that allows this, so definitely check the rules on the website to find out more. But anyway, here's Hoopa. Again, 130 hit points, but Hyperspace Punch. Yeah, that sounds tasty, right? This attack does 20 damage to 2 of your opponent's Pokemon. Not too bad, actually, for 1 colorless energy. And then Portal Strike for 130, but it can't use Portal Strike during your next turn. By the way, let's go ahead and read this before I open the rest up. This says, control crackling currents. Bring forth lightning and psychic shocks with the mythical Pokemon Hoopa. Galvantula's electric webs and the surging power of Ampharos keep the current flowing and give your opponent quite a shock. Call down the thunder. Okay, so it's definitely built around, you know, Ampharos and Galvantula and a little bit of Hoopa on the side, right? Alright, let's go ahead and open this up. Also, I do apologize if something just seems amiss with camera. My camera broke down right before recording. I'm using my phone's camera, and it looks nice and all, but I'm having to actually stand up while doing this, which, let me just tell you, is not exactly the most fun thing in the world. Hey, it's a code card. Well, hopefully I was considerate enough to censor that. Usually they're not placed that way, but oh well, it's fine. It's no big deal. That, again, unlocks the theme deck online, which is pretty cool. They also come with some cool coins. Like, check out this Hoopa coin. I guess I didn't even look at the other one. Where did I put that? Let's see. Should be around here. Oh, well. But yeah, so there's Hoopa, and here's the rest of the stuff. Let me go ahead and open it up. Yeah, so we got 8-Bomb, another Hoopa. This 8-Bomb's really funny. Fiddle around. Look at the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck and put them back in any order. That's just so disruptive. And then this Hawlucha. It's like, hey, what's up? Come get some. When you play this Pokemon from your hand onto your bench, you may have your opponent switch his or her active Pokemon with one of his or her bench Pokemon. So you don't get to choose which of their bench Pokemon they send up, but you do force them to switch, and that can be very disruptive, for sure. Then there's this thing. Drifblim, Eerie Wave, not overly great, but Burst Curse. It's a mouthful to say. Discard 2 energy attached to this Pokemon, put 8 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon in any way you like. Kind of interesting, because you can even put damage on Pokemon on the bench. Oh, look at that! What's up with this Galvantula? Why is it both lightning and grass type, huh? It's kind of cool looking. Yeah, it does count as both, which is neat. Double Thread does 30 damage to 2 of your opponent's Pokemon. Also apply weakness and resistance for bench Pokemon. It's kind of nice. And then Electro Web, the defending Pokemon can't retreat during your opponent's next turn. Yeah, so this deck is very themed around doing some damage to the bench before the enemy can even kind of send out something. Oh, wow, I just called your opponent the enemy, right? Got some Evo Soda there, Professor's Letter to get some energy. Adorable Flaffy! Lampent, Mirror Mirror. Each player either draws or discards cards until that player has 4 cards in his or her hand. Alright, Ninja Boy again. Ampharos. Yeah, this thing's kind of nice. Once during your turn, you may put 3 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokémon-EX. It can be used from the bench, and it can target your opponent's Pokémon-EX that are on the bench. So that's pretty good. Gigavolt is also a really nice attack. 80 damage. Flip a coin. If heads, it does 40 more damage. If tails, your opponent's active Pokemon's paralyzed. Really can't go wrong either way. Ambipom, it's got Furry Chance. What a name, come on. Discard the top card of your opponent's deck. If that card is an energy card, this attack does 60 more damage. So the strategy is to use Apom to rearrange the foe's deck. You don't want to put the energy directly on top, because remember, they're going to draw, but you'll probably want it to be the second card, and then hopefully you'll evolve to Ambipom, use Furry Chance, and get a Chuckle, and then do 80 damage. But, I don't know, it's not overly reliable, but it's kind of funny, I guess. Alright, probably a good thing to replace in the deck, to be honest. Let's see, Potions for healing, Tierno for card drawing. Yeah, definitely about bench damage here. That's really kind of nice. Hawlucha to kind of force switches and stuff. Ampharos to damage the foe's Pokemon-EX. Looks pretty solid. I think if I were to choose which of these decks I would go with, again, this is just a matter of personal preference. It's not really a, you know, this is the best, but I'd probably go with that Hoopa deck. I think it looks really cool. Even though the Volcanian's really a neat Pokemon to, you know, to have as a deck. And, you know, you get Volcanion a little early, which is nice, but I don't know, doing that bench damage is just really disruptive. Like, so often you can just mess with your opponent and get rid of whatever they're focusing on taking out with. But I don't know, that Volcanion hits pretty hard too. So yeah, but those are the Steam Siege theme decks, and they are both really neat. So, hopefully I will have enough battery left on my, voice recorder to open these up. But yeah, let's open up, I think there's 5 booster packs of Steam Siege. Alright, awesome. Let's see. And again, this is a great way to update the, well, upgrade your decks, rather. Which is kind of nice. Alright, so Mantine. I'm going to point out cards that would be good in either of these decks, to be honest. Or at least that I think would work. Armofossil, Shieldon. Infernape, hey, I know where I'm putting that. Yeah, Flare Blitz 120. Discard all fire energy attached to this Pokemon, but it only takes 2, so that's not bad. And then Flare Up. If you have fewer than 10 fire energy cards in your discard pile, this attack does nothing. Shuffle 10 fire energy cards from your discard pile into your deck. That's pretty insane, really. Yeah, definitely putting that in there. Look at that Duat. Wonderlock! Hey guys, the Wonderlock is coming back, right? No, they actually named an ability Wonderlock. It's quite a mouthful to explain it, so I'm not gonna bother. But it's just kind of funny, I guess. Alright, you know what? Let me just take a moment. I'm gonna swap all these batteries. I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. Sorry about that. I actually... True confessions here, alright? I've once had it where I was recording, and my voice recorder thing that I take with me to record these it ran out of batteries while recording, so the audio quality just really stunk after that point. So I just didn't want to take any chances. But yeah, all right. So we're continuing right where we left off, and yeah, I feel a little bit better now. I was kind of on edge over that. I really do not like that. Look at that rufflet. Tangela, Krogunk, Mareep, Litwick, a foil Mareep, or reverse foil one, Gastrodon, alright, Flaffy, again, I could put those, actually I could put the Monferno in there, because even though I already have that, remember, strengthening your lines is not a bad idea. So for instance, I could put this Mareep and the Flaffy. I think I already have 2 or 3 of each in there, so I couldn't have more than that, but that would definitely increase the chances of drawing either of those, which is good. Alright, pack number 3. I see a Chimchar, which I know I already got, but you know what, this time I'm going to go ahead and put that right there. Alright, Nose Pass. That thing looks menacing, man. Litleo. Oh, Sneasel, it's so adorable! I love it! Nyan Roll. Oh my goodness, that's just the cutest thing. Sneasel does not get enough love, I tell you. Look at that. So often it's just portrayed as something really mean and nasty, and I like that just fine, don't get me wrong, but it has its adorable side. I'd totally keep one as a pet. Yanma, reverse foil, leader and male, and whoa! Full art Pokemon Ranger. Remove all effects of attacks on each player and his or her Pokemon. So yeah, if, you're affected by something like, you can't attack next turn or something like that. For instance, I'm pretty sure the Hoopa, that, you can't use this attack next turn, that's an effect. So I think that would actually get around that. I'm not entirely sure. The wording on this is very poor, but that's really cool to have gotten one. And I'll tell you what, I will even give you the code card. Here you go. Have the code card that'll unlock 1 booster pack of Steam Siege online, which is great. You want it. Although only the first person to enter that code will get it. So yeah. Alright, anyway, getting close to the end of this little buffet here, but let's see what else. Oh, that'd also go good in the Hoopa deck, and thinking about it. Let me go ahead and put that a little closer over there. Alright, we got Oshawott, another Sneasel, so cute! Seedot, Drifloon, another Apom, Amoonguss, Crazy Spore. Whoa, Yveltal, that thing looks sweet. I think it's just a reprint though. Oh, there's a normal Pokemon Ranger, and another Ambipom, and Nidorino, alright. And for the final pack for this little video here, another Sneasel. That's a good sign, right? Right? I think so. Alright, Sneasel, Mantine, Mankey, Yanma, another Apom, Meryl! Hey! Fairy type Meryl, I love it. Druddigan, Proud Fang. If your opponent has any Pokemon break and play, does 60 more, and then Giga Claw. Anorith, Halucha again, and Dua. Well, really cool. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it was a good look at the starter decks and kind of what you can expect to get from them, as well as some things that you might be able to add to them from some of the booster packs from Steam Siege. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you on the next video of Pokemon Trading Card Game Stuff. See you next time, everyone!